Ever since I first swung my leg over a motorcycle, I've been on an unending quest to ride as many twisty, scenic roads as possible. But it wasn't until October 2021, 7 years into my motorcycling career, that I made the pilgrimage to the one and only Deals Gap, aka the Tail of the Dragon. The Tail of the Dragon is an 11-mile stretch of Route 129 between Deals Gap, North Carolina, and the Calderwood Dam Overlook in Tennessee. Its supposed 318 curves are totally free of stop signs, speed bumps, or intersections of any kind. Naturally, this makes it one of the motorsports meccas of the U.S. With so many riders and drivers traveling here to push their skills and vehicles to the limit, it's no surprise that 129 has earned a reputation for being dangerous. Many enthusiastic visitors bite off more than they can chew, and when they do, the dragon bites back. Was fear one of the reasons it took me 7 years to finally come visit this place? Yeah. The trip down to the Dragon from my hometown of Washington, D.C. would take maybe a day and a half on the freeway, but I opted to do it via the mountain roads over the course of 3 days. Unlike most of the motorcycle adventures you've seen documented on my channel, I was treating this trip like an actual vacation. Creating content was of secondary importance to just having a nice time. In fact, on day one, I didn't capture a single second of video, only cell phone photos. All that being said, I do love playing with cameras almost as much as I love riding, so by day 2, I was back on my bullshit. This route took me along Virginia Route 58 and Tennessee 421, 2 roads I've been wanting to ride forever, and they did not disappoint. Taking these unfamiliar twisty roads at a spirited pace felt kind of like a warm-up for the Tail of the Dragon. Once I'd scratched my sporty riding itch for the day, I was happy to just cruise the rest of the way to Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville is one of my favorite towns, so I happily spent the next 2 nights there. I took the opportunity to visit my sister and entertain her pets while she was at work. I also swung by a local BMW dealer to pick up a bungee net because I couldn't find mine when I was packing for this trip. The following day, day 4, was the big one. It was time to go face down a dragon. It was a cold morning, so I stayed off the highway for the first couple hours. After crossing the border from North Carolina into Tennessee, I hopped onto the Foothills Parkway, which is sort of Tennessee's miniature version of the Blue Ridge Parkway. From here, I ventured into Great Smoky Mountains National Park. This turned out to be a huge mistake. National Park plus fall color plus noon on a Sunday equals traffic. I should have bailed out somewhere along this 14-mile parade of cars, but people rave about this park, so I thought it would be worth it. I crawled up the hill, duked it out for a parking spot at Newfound Gap Overlook, and found the view to be pretty underwhelming. After retracing my steps out of the park, I found my way back to the Foothills Parkway and continued on. Not long after, I made the last left turn before entering the Dragon's Lair, and it was only then that I really started to feel nervous. I knew that as long as I didn't bite off more than I could chew, I'd probably be perfectly safe, but there was still so much that was unknown to me about this experience. Just how hairy is this road going to be? Am I going to be holding up faster traffic? What if I ride perfectly safe, but someone else does something stupid and crashes into me? For better or for worse, I didn't have very long to worry about it. Okay, everybody, here we are. Tail of the Dragon. My first time here in just about 7 years as a motorcyclist. I was waiting there for a while, hoping to give myself some space between me and the SUVs and pickup truck that just went by. But, you know, it's the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday at the end of October. The tourist traffic is never going to stop, so I'm just gonna go and do the best I can. Uh-oh. He says I'm good to go through. All right. Ominous. I hope everybody's okay. Just gonna ride my own ride. Just enjoy the road. Just gonna be happy that I'm here. I was trying to rendezvous with Ben and Sam, two guys I'd met at Bikes and Breakfast in Clifton a couple months prior. They were down there on a trip of their own, and we had said we'd try to meet up. I was on 129 for all of 5 minutes before... Oh, hey, there they are. Hey. How's it going?
That was like Elliot. I'm like, no, it can't be.
At the time of filming, Sam was a relatively new rider and had a well-seasoned Buell Blast. Ben is more experienced and was on his 2016 Bonneville T120. It was their first visit to the Dragon too, but they had already ridden it once from the North Carolina end. With Ben taking the lead, we set off on my first trip down the Dragon's Tail.
So I can't remember if I mentioned this already, but we started on the Tennessee side of the Tail of the Dragon. And the reason I say that is because the North Carolina end is where the resort is, Deals Gap Motorcycle Resort. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's over there when we get there. But for now, I am just really enjoying this first ride on the Tail of the Dragon. I'm really glad that I bumped into these guys when I did, because this is exactly the pace that I should be going at. Welcome to North Carolina.
Almost quicker than I could believe it, my first Dragon ride was over, and surviving it hadn't been difficult at all. Even Sam wasn't too far behind us. Part of me was beginning to wonder if this road's reputation, both the good and the bad, was a little exaggerated. It was starting to get late, so Ben and Sam decided to move on, but I was eager to try and squeeze in one more lap, out and back. This second run was held up by a little bit of traffic, but it was the run where a couple of the professional photographers got my picture.
Oh shit. So that was a collision between what looked like one of the smaller GS's and and a C8 Corvette. That sucks, but I saw somebody who looked like it might have been the guy riding the GS standing around, so I'm hoping that means the rider was okay, and the driver. If you ever come through here and that sticker is still there, send me a photo of it on Instagram or by email, and I will mail you a prize, which will probably just be another sticker. I am clearly slower traffic. I am really surprised at how nice this road is, and you may be surprised that I am surprised. It is, after all, the famous Tail of the Dragon. People come from all over the country to ride this road on motorcycles and in sports cars. I was worried that it would be overhyped. I was worried that it would be overcrowded, especially on a day like today. I was worried that it would be too hairy, too dangerous for me to properly enjoy, you know? I was worried that maybe it's kind of a go big or go home type road, where if I'm not going as fast as all the super bikes, then I'm just getting in the way. And that hasn't really been the case. It's very easy to ride your own ride here. And the ride that I'm riding is pretty nice. I'm probably quicker than, I don't know, 40 to 50% of the other vehicles on this road. Not that guy. And I've found that most people are pretty good about getting out of the way when faster vehicles come up behind them. There are, of course, plenty of idiots, both of the 2- and 4-wheel variety, and of the 3-wheel variety. Thinking back on that accident between the GS and the C8, if I had to guess, I would think that the GS is at fault there. They would have slid out from the inside of the turn. And assuming that that was the case, the driver of the C8 could have been going at a perfectly reasonable, safe speed, and there would have been nothing they could do to prevent themselves from getting in that accident. And I've seen a lot of bikers coming around corners really fast and thinking, man, if they're at the limit of grip and they hit, you know, a little bit of sand or something in the road, or goose the throttle just a teeny bit, they could come off and hit me, even though I'm riding perfectly safe. And of course, that risk equation is present on any road on which one can ride a motorcycle, you know? You can do everything you possibly can to keep yourself safe, but there's always gonna be that one little bit left to luck. That's always true whenever any of us ride, but it's just illustrated particularly clearly to me here at the Tail of the Dragon. Somebody's behind me. I'm gonna find a pullout to get out of their way. You're welcome.
With the sun getting low, I knew this would probably be my last time riding 129 on this trip, and I was feeling lucky, so I decided to turn on my tail microphone and dialed things up to what I considered to be a fun pace.
Well, it's official, guys. Van Blam has slain the dragon.
While the tail of the dragon is the star of the show, one would be remiss to travel all the way there without also exploring the surrounding area. Depending on who you ask, some nearby roads like the Cherahalla Skyway and Joyce Kilmer Road are just as enjoyable as 129, if not more so. So, the following morning, I met up with Ben and Sam again to go exploring. It was supposed to start raining before long, so we started with Joyce Kilmer Road, the shortest of those nearby rides.
I don't know where they're delivering that house to, but it's going to take them all damn day to get there.
I had been chatting with Ben about his Bonneville T120, a motorcycle that seems to infiltrate my brain every time I go on a road trip with my speed twin. Compared to my bike, the T120 is a far superior cruiser, and in exchange, sacrifices a degree of sport performance that I feel I can spare. Partway through the Joyce Kilmer loop, Ben offered to trade mounts for a few miles, which I happily accepted.
All right, I'm on Ben's T120. Already, this gearing is super tall. That's the first thing that strikes me about it. Ben is up there on my speed twin. I do occasionally swap bikes with people when they offer to let me ride theirs, and I just kind of use my judgment as to whether or not I feel comfortable with them riding my bike. In this case, I think that anybody who's experienced with a T120 can handle a speed twin just fine. The only time I'm really not comfortable handing my keys to someone is in the cases where they are not comfortable. If they're like, ooh, speed twin, I'm not so sure. So yeah, the T120, it's not feeling quite as finely honed, I guess, as the speed twin is. But goddamn, this seat is so comfy.
The Big Bonnie rode more or less the way I expected it to, and I could see it having a place in my garage one day, depending on what other bikes were going to be in there with it. I'll have more to say about the T120 in an upcoming 2-minute test ride video. After completing that nice little lap of the Joyce Kilmer Road loop, we saw that the forecasted rain was still a ways off, so we decided to hit 143, the Cherahalla Skyway, arguably the second most famous road in the area. I've got to say, it lives up to the hype. It's just as special as the Dragon, but in a different way. Where 129 is a sport riding playground that begs you to go fast, 143 is just a really nice cruise. Long straightaways, sweeping bends, and a generous array of overlooks. I'd highly recommend riding it in the fall if you can. Towards the top, it started getting foggy. Really foggy. I even pulled over and asked the guys if they felt comfortable continuing. They said yes, and I'm glad they did, because the conditions cleared up beautifully as soon as we had crested the mountain range. After getting lunch and gas, we turned around and headed back towards Robbinsville, and that is when it started raining. Nothing we couldn't handle, but after this, I was happy to check in for the night. The next day, day 6, I made my way back up to Asheville via the Blue Ridge Parkway. The North Carolina half of the BRP is the better one in my opinion, so be sure to put it on your to-do list if you ever plan a trip down here. Which, by the way, you absolutely should. I couldn't be more happy or more proud to have finally ridden the Tail of the Dragon. As long as you go when it's less crowded and ride your own ride, you won't regret making the pilgrimage. The other outstanding roads in the area just make it that much more worthwhile. This footage marks the end of my Dragon diary. I had originally planned to take another layover in Asheville, then spend another 2 days winding my way back home, but the weather forecast for those days was looking extremely wet, and my tire tread was almost down to the wear bars at the time, so I opted to get back on the road the next morning and do the whole trip from Asheville to DC in a day. At just over 500 miles, it would be the longest day of riding I'd ever done. You'll see that journey in its own vlog sometime soon, so be on the lookout for that if you want to find out whether or not I survived. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone for watching today. Travel videos like this take many times more work than a simple bike review, hence why this is coming out 8 months after it was filmed, but knowing that my van fam is watching definitely helps keep me motivated. Until next time, you all ride safe, and remember, motorcycles are for everyone.